This video is on the objective make a conclusion and interpret the results of a hypothesis test for a proportion. And this is using the critical value or rejection region approach. I've been calling it the critical value approach for the most part. And this is the second video on a question in your homework related to this objective. So hopefully you've watched the first one, and after both of these you'll get this one won't be as long, and you'll get an idea as to how to work on problems like this. So again, if you're unfamiliar with the topic, want to see more on this objective, click on more instruction and look at their videos, their notes, their examples. Hopefully those help. Alright, so a district attorney claims the proportion of defendants who are found guilty of robbery is 65%. So that's P equals 65.65. To test this claim, a random sample of defendants who are accused of robbery are monitored and checked if they were found guilty or not guilty. So let's assume the test statistic, right, the z-score for that sample came back as 1.53. Since this is a two-tailed hypothesis test, right, because P equals 0.65 would be the null hypothesis, P is not equal to 0.65 would be the alternative hypothesis, right? So it is a two-tailed test. Since this is a two-tailed hypothesis test, assume the critical values for this test are, z equals negative 1.645 and z equals positive 1.645. So they're already giving us the test statistic and the critical values. Come to a decision for the hypothesis test and interpret your results. All right. So notice the test statistic is between the two critical values. 1.53 is between negative 1.645 and positive 1.645. So our test statistic is not in a rejection region, right? To be in a rejection region, you have to be 1.645 or greater, or negative 1.645 or less. But this 1.53 is between. So because my test statistic is not in a rejection region, we are not going to reject the null hypothesis. You fail to reject the null hypothesis, and there is not enough evidence to reject the claim. That's how they're stating it when the claim is in the null. There's not enough evidence to reject the claim that the proportion is 65%. Right? And that's all. They gave us a decision on the null hypothesis and a conclusion involving the claim, saying that there's not enough evidence to reject the claim. Now, if there's not enough evidence to reject it, that means you're supporting it, right? And we didn't reject the null, and the claim would be in the null. So it's got to be that statement. And again, very simply, just is the test statistic going to be in one of those rejection regions? And here it wasn't. And read your answer explanations, of course. And again, very simple, very quick and easy these. I could have drawn a picture if you wanted, but I didn't care for it. You didn't need to. And hopefully watching me or listening to me here and looking at the more instruction, hopefully all this stuff helps you out when you work on these questions on your own, when you're working through this assignment on your own time. And thank you for watching.